The Greek prefix anti holds two meanings. It means against, but it also means another or in the place of. Therefore, Antichrist is literally another Christ. Teilhard de Chardin, who is known as one of the most frequently quoted writers by leading New Age occultists, defines perhaps better than any the Antichrist prophesied throughout the New Age movement. Teilhard said, quote, "I believe that the Messiah whom we await, whom we all without any doubt await, is the universal Christ, that is to say, the Christ of evolution." Teilhard said, "A general convergence of religions upon a universal Christ who fundamentally satisfies them all. That seems to me the only possible conversion of the world, and the only form in which a religion of the future can be conceived."
The Pope is the leader of an ecumenical movement like this world has never seen. He gathered 160 leaders of the world's 12 major religions there in Assisi. Who was there? Snake worshippers, literally, some snake worshippers, fire worshippers, spiritists, animists, Muslims, Hindus, Buddhists, North American Indian witch doctors. They're painting feathers, fetishes, and rattles, walking to the microphone, to pray for peace. And he said, we're all praying to the same God. Our prayers are creating a spiritual energy, bringing about a new climate for peace. So there is an ecumenical movement. It won't just be the Catholics. I mean, you can see they're all joining the Catholic Church. The ecclesial head of the Church of England, the Archbishop of Canterbury, he says, oh, we got to come back under the Pope. Robert Schuller says, what do we have to do to save the shepherd? How do we come home, They're all talking about we've got to acknowledge the leadership of the Pope. So you have this ecumenical movement, and all of them will join under Rome.
The ecumenical movement has compelled Pope John Paul II to put on the garments of paganism in more ways than one. The Pope kissed the Muslim Quran, a book that vehemently denies Jesus as the Son of God. He allowed his friend, the Dalai Lama, to replace the cross with a statue of Buddha on the altar of St. Peter's Church in Assisi, and for the Dalai Lama and his monks to perform their Buddhist worship there. The Pope even received the mark of Shiva on his forehead. Shiva is the Hindu god who is called the Lord of Death. Disturbing to some researchers is the fact that according to the Satanic Bible, Shiva is a synonym for Satan. Many researchers believe that the time of Antichrist's appearing is nearer now than ever before, especially since the United Nations has launched a global effort to establish a one-world religion, as revealed by this CBN report.
Many liberal organizations, including the United Nations, are pursuing the development of a one-world religious organization. Today, on the United Nations' 55th anniversary, CBN News reporter Wendy Griffith takes a look at what's behind this push for a global religious voice.
After a while, the drums, chants, and prayers representing many of the world's leading religions all started to sound alike, somehow losing their flavor in a melting pot of spiritual soup. The first ever Millennium World Peace Summit of religious and spiritual leaders took place at the United Nations in August, and some believe it marked the first major step toward a movement to usher in a global spiritual body that may one day speak for all religions. Robert McGinnis with the Family Research Council says it appears the hidden agenda is to unite people under one religious organization so they will peacefully accept UN goals such as population control, abortion rights, and one world government.
Instead of all these different gods, maybe there's one God who manifests himself and revealed himself in different ways to different people. What about that, huh?
CNN founder and billionaire Ted Turner was the honorary chair of the World Religion Summit. Turner, known for his critical views on biblical Christianity, promoted the New Age concept that there are many ways to heaven.
The thing that disturbed me is that my religious Christian sect was very intolerant, not intolerant of religious freedom for other people, but they thought that we were the only ones going to heaven.
Supporters of a global religious voice have come down hard on evangelical Christians who refuse to adopt their New Age agenda.
Although the URI says it is not a religion, critics say it does preach a theology that teaches acceptance and diversity among all faiths. Those who push for a global religious organization believe that all religions, while different on the surface, are each valid pathways to God.
The United Nations is a very interesting and complex body of networking, hundreds and hundreds of New Age groups that are networked together, the political activists that want to bring in merging of spiritual ideas. And we're warned in the Bible that what's going to happen in order for the world to elevate this one person who's going to be a world leader, our spiritual ideas have to merge to lift up this person who is going to get mankind to believe that he is the Christ, that he is the world leader. And the United Nations is a part of that conditioning process. The whole point of unifying spiritually is to globalize a sort of one world religion, to have the idea that through a united mind, through a like-minded mind consciousness, mankind can evolve to God consciousness.
But what is the influence for this mind consciousness, this united mind that will bring the world together? The Bible foretells of 10 kings that will one day rule the world, saying that these have one mind, and shall give their power and strength unto the beast. The Apostle John writes, "Little children, it is the last time, and as ye have heard that Antichrist shall come, even now there are many Antichrists, by which we know that it is the last time." Antichrist will be the manifestation of Satan's desire to exalt himself above God. The Bible says that Antichrist opposes and exalts himself above all that is called God or that is worshipped, so that he, as God, sits in the temple of God, showing himself that he is God. And all that dwell upon the earth shall worship him, whose names are not written in the book of life. Most researchers believe that the New Age movement, combined with the New World Order, will ultimately unite the world to serve and worship this man of sin.
New Age guru sought out by the Beatles stated, quote, "There has not been and there will not be a place for the unfit. The fit will lead, and if the unfit are not coming along, there is no place for them. In the place where light dominates, there is no place for darkness." See, in his thinking, the fit are the New Agers, and the unfit are those who do not adopt the New Age beliefs. People who are, for example, fundamentalist Christians, Jews, people like this. So essentially, you see a lot of intolerance within the New Age movement. It's not all nice and dandy with these people. You know, they have the mask, they have the appearance of peace, love, harmony, but in their writings, they do come out and say that there is no place for Christians and people who do not accept their beliefs.
But if you dig deep into the literature, yes, they're going to be extremely intolerant. David Spangler had talked about the Luciferic initiation and these types of things. And we look in the Bible and we can look at like Revelation 13 and where all they that do not receive the mark and the mark of the beast in their right hand or their forehead, you know, are going to essentially forfeit their life. This is how intolerant it's going to become. It's going to be their way or no way. And so, no, they're not going to have any tolerance. I think at first they're going to come as real nice guys, though. I don't think they're going to do that right off the bat. But eventually it's going to get to the point where enough people have bought into it and enough strong delusion is there that, yeah, they're not going to be tolerant.
Many years ago, when I was in high school and college, like millions of other Americans, I was an avid supporter of the United Nations. I believed all the many things that I had learned in grade school and in high school, that after World War II, the founders of the United Nations had come together to form this beneficent organization to create world harmony, brotherhood, peace, and understanding. And who could be opposed to that? It wasn't until later in my college years that I began reading the actual United Nations documents and books which were critical of the United Nations. I began to see the real problem, and it became very apparent to me that we were headed under the United Nations toward a convergence of countries into a global tyranny. Thus the title for my book, Global Tyranny, Step by Step. We were under the United Nations and under the rubric of world brotherhood and understanding, marching into an intended tyranny, and it is happening piecemeal, gradually, step by step.